for your grace, carrying me in every season. Where would I be if not for your grace? You came to my rescue, and I want to thank you for your grace.
Hello, hello. Hey, Tasha, thank you. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you. It's going to be an open forum tonight.
Where would I be? Where would I be if not for your grace?
This is If Not For Your Grace by Israel and New Breed. I love this song. It's been on my heart all day today.
Where would I be?
Hey, Rachel. Hey, Kia.
Came to my rescue.
We're just going to get started in a minute. I just got to play this song, y'all.
Grace that restores, grace that redeems, grace that releases me to worship, grace that repairs visions and dreams.
Talking about God's grace. I love this song. Love this song. Oh, God's grace is sufficient, I tell you. His grace, y'all. His grace, His grace.
Where would I be?
We're going to get started in a second.
Not for your grace, carrying me. Every season, where would I be? Not for your grace, you came to my rescue, and I want to thank you tonight.
Hey, Joe.
Grace that restores, grace that redeems, grace that releases me to worship.
We're going to get started in just a second.
Visions and dreams, grace that releases
Yes. Okay, I'm going to cut it off after this part right here. It just goes in on this part.
grace that restores, grace that redeems,
I got to get the words right.
grace that releases miracles, grace that repairs visions and dreams, grace that releases miracles, grace that restores, grace that redeems, grace that releases
All right. I just had to get to that part because this song is amazing. Where would we be? Woo! Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Since it's me just by myself tonight, I had to, had to set the atmosphere. All right. Hello. Hey, y'all. I am so excited about tonight. I got some things on my heart that I want to talk about. And I want you to engage in this conversation because this is an open forum. I won't have a guest tonight. It's just me and you. And that's going to be enough. Because we've had a series of people coming on. I've had single parents come on. I've had their children come on. I've had an amazing couple who's been married over 30 years and one of their children come on. So tonight I just wanted to kind of have an open session before we get into having a guest next week. So over the past couple of weeks, we've talked about, and I would say, the past couple of weeks we've talked about relationships. And especially relationships of married couples who seem to have been have a successful marriage and started with a healthy foundation. Married over 31 years, and both of the situations that we heard about in the last couple of weeks started out in friendship. So started out in friendship, and it seemed to progress pretty naturally into an engagement and marriage. So it just led me to think about, I know for myself, one of the things that came to mind as I was interviewing those couples is what happens when you have it in your mind that you desire for your relationship to progress that way, or you desire for things to happen like that for you, but then you look at your own life and it's like, well, dang, that's not my reality. I'm 30 years old, or I'm 40 years old, 50 years old, or however old you are, and I haven't met the one that I truly desire. I haven't had that healthy relationship experience. So what do I do? How do I live with that? How do I live with living with my own reality of my current relationship state? Hey, Maurice. And, living with the reality of my current relationship state, and also living with the reality of some of the choices that I've made that has contributed to my current state. How do you deal with that? Am I by myself? Anybody ever had those questions like, what happened? So you may be asking questions like, how do I live with the choices that I've made? How do I deal with myself? How do I deal with my reality? Can I ever have what I say I truly desire? Can I ever really have the type of relationship that I say that I want? Anybody ever felt that way? Anybody ever seen couples like that I've had on in the past couple of weeks and felt like, I would love that, but that's not my reality. And can I have that? Whatever that may mean. Because these couples, as they shared, have their own set of challenges, and it wasn't a perfect situation, not a perfect marriage. However, it's still something that a lot of us aspire to have. So that's what I want to talk about today. How do you deal with your reality? How do you deal with that kind of stuff? So I want to talk to you from my own story. I want to be my own guest tonight and talk to you from the space that I'm in and the things that I have went through. If nothing else, just to encourage you, just to let you know that you are not alone in how you're feeling. And like I said, if you're having these questions, these are the questions I wrote down because these are my own questions that I've asked myself before. Being 40 years old, having been divorced, and just thinking about the type of relationship that I truly desire, one that is God-centered, one that, it's like I'm with my best friend, and just all those things. And can I really have that? Will I have that? So that's what I want to talk about. So just to give you a little understanding of who I am and my own story, one of the things that happened for me when I was in my 20s, and this was probably, when I was in my 20s, because I'm 40 now, but when I was in my 20s, probably late 20s, I had in my mind that I was going to be married by 2009. Okay, so 2009 would make me about 32 years old. So somewhere along the line, I came up in my mind and I thought that it was from God. I felt like he had told me that I would be married by 2009. Okay, So keep that in your mind. So here I am just living my life, and I think at the time I was in a relationship, or maybe not, but as things progressed, I got into a relationship and I'm like, all right, I'm on a goal. I have a desire to be married. And before then I was abstaining. I wasn't having sex. I was really growing in my relationship with God and just really feeling like I was doing all the things I was supposed to do. I was taking the singles, want to be married classes and reading books and all these things, making sure that I was prepared, right? So checking the boxes and doing all the things that I needed to do, serving in the church and everything. I'm doing everything I need to do. So I'm in this relationship hoping that, if I continue to get to know this man, then we're going to progress like how, it should, quote unquote, progress into marriage. So we're together, and 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years go, and it just doesn't seem like it's progressing the way that I imagine it would be. So 5 years into this relationship, and by this time it's 2009. So the 5th year of this relationship is 2009, and we're nowhere near marriage. But in my mind, 2009 is the year I'm supposed to be married, right? So I was fine. I was going through a lot of things emotionally, and I talk about all of this stuff in my book, Dear Miss Wholeness. So if it's something that you want to read more about, I go into more details about this story. But I want to share for the purposes of tonight. So I get to 2009, and it's about September, and I just couldn't take it anymore. It just felt like, he wasn't a bad guy. It just didn't feel like we were compatible, and I was trying to force something that wasn't meant to be. So I finally decided to end the relationship, right? So I'm in September of 2009, and I still feel like God is telling me that I'm supposed to be married by this date. I got it in my mind, and that's the goal that I'm working towards. But I just broke up with somebody. So what am I going to do? So unbeknownst to me, I didn't know all of this, now that I'm sitting back and thinking about it, I didn't know all of this stuff was working underneath the surface, but there was this sense of anxiety of meeting this goal of being married by 2009. So I would say the same week that I ended the relationship that I was in for 5 years, I started talking to someone that I had been friends with long distance for about 10 years. We knew each other from college, and I started talking to him. And things progressed pretty quickly. So we started talking probably about October, and December we got married. December 31st, 2009. Now, when I tell you I was on a mission, I was on a mission to achieve this goal that I thought I was supposed to have for myself, because I was supposed to be getting married by 2009, having these kids, and starting a life and living happily ever after. So that's what I thought was supposed to happen, and that's what I created now that I look back at it, right? So, and I talk about all this stuff in my book and what happened. So as you can imagine, that was not a recipe for happily ever after. Not to say that it couldn't have happened, but my motives, my thought process at the time, where I was in my life, it was not a healthy foundation. So 5 years later, it ended in divorce, right? Because of a whole lot of things that, I talk about in my book. But I shared all that to say, so here I am, 5 years after being married and thinking that I'm going to live this glamorous life with a man. And then I'm thinking I'm going to be teaching people how to live happily married, because I thought, I was just in this fantasy role of that's what was going to happen for me. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. So then my fantasy is crushed. We get divorced, and now I'm here. It's probably about 2013 by this time, and I'm just like, all right, what am I going to do now? Well, we separated in 2013, and then 2014 the divorce was finalized. But it was around 2013 that I was faced with the reality of, what am I going to do with myself now? So that's for me when the healing began, and me going to counseling and all those things. So I shared all that to say, here I am making this decision, thinking that it's going to be what I thought it was going to be, and that I was going to live this life, and then it doesn't end the way I wanted to. No husband, no kids, single again, and just not sure what I'm going to do. And then not only that, having to deal with the relationship choices that I had made, the rushing into a marriage, the ending a 5-year relationship without going through the grieving process, the healing process, and doing whatever I need to do to really work through that, and not giving myself space to do that. So, and then dealing with relationships prior to that, like I'm dealing with all of this stuff, all of these choices that I had made that I am now facing. So what do I do? What do I do? And so then, even after that, so fast forward to, so this was about 2013, like I said, we separated and divorce finalized in 2014, started counseling and all these things, and then fast forward to 2017, where I write my book, Dear Miss Wholeness, just talking about the whole process, the healing process that God took me through. And then after that, so I'm thinking, okay, I've gone through the process, I've done what I needed to do, and so now God is going to bless me, you know, with this beautiful relationship. I've written the book, I've been I've been obedient to what he told me to do and writing the book and really pouring out my heart and sharing my testimony. And so now this is when it's going to happen, right? This is when I'm going to meet the man of my dreams, because this is how it happens. So in my mind, here I am with another fantasy that I'm living. So in the beginning of last year, you know, I published the book in May of last year. And so in the beginning, you know, I got into another relationship and probably lasted about 8 months, and it ended because it still wasn't where I was supposed to be. And so here I am, not in a relationship once again, and dealing with another unhealthy relationship choice. What do I do now? I just wrote this book. I just poured my heart out. I just did all the things that I thought I was supposed to do. And so it just left me in a space of, man, just forget it. I don't think it's ever going to happen for me. That's where I was towards the end of last year, just feeling like, you know, I'm just giving up. I don't think this is going to happen. Feeling kind of hopeless because I'm dealing with the impact of kind of jumping into this relationship with someone that I really wasn't supposed to be with, and just not that he was a bad guy, because he's not, but we just weren't on the same page. So here I am once again dealing with that. So what do I do? What do I do? And then listening to people's stories and people's testimonies, and that by this time I was 39, and how do I deal with all of these choices, one person after another, one choice after another? How do I deal with that? Have you ever been there? So just sharing all the things that I've shared, if you can post in the comments, have you ever been there? Have you ever felt that way? Are you there now where you're feeling like, man, I'm losing hope on the fact that I'm going to, you know, really be in that type of relationship that I desire, that I'm really going to experience the love that I desire? So please just leave a comment, say, girl, me too. If it's nothing else that of you just saying me too. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Kia. At least I know I'm not by myself. And that's why I'm doing this Facebook Live today, because I know there are some people out there who are frustrated with the process, with where you are, and you're seeing people and you're like, what about me? So thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. Because, and Tia, okay, you say you're there now. Yeah, right. You know, because this is real stuff. This is stuff that, you know, we're not talking about. We're just kind of dealing with it silently, you know, and nobody's really talking about it. How do we navigate through these times and deal with those real emotions? Because we're in a society where social media we have, and we're just looking and seeing all of these couples and just all these things, and another baby announcement and just all that stuff. So, okay, a little bit, but I stay encouraged. Okay, it's taking too long. I need love. Yeah. This is real talk. So I'm glad that I'm in good company with y'all today. So, and just thinking about the decisions that we've made, that's another thing, because it's one thing if you've just been waiting and you've been chilling and you're just really desiring it. And it's another thing when you have been trying to create things for yourself, or maybe you just thought you were doing the right thing, but it ended up not being the healthy relationship for you. And then it's like, dang, now I got to deal with that. Like that's something, you know, because it brings about a certain amount of guilt. because it's like, dang, if I would have been a little bit more patient, or if I would have just waited, or if I would have just saw the signs about this person, if I would have done this, if I would have done that. So not only are we dealing with the loneliness and just the feelings of not being where we think we should be, but we're also dealing with the guilt of it when we've made decisions that weren't healthy for us, so we're dealing with all of that, bad choices and misguided. Yeah. So it's like all of that we come with, and that's exactly where I was at the end of last year, just dealing with all of that and all of the effects of my decisions and just some things that came out of that relationship that I had to deal with. And it's like, dang, man, I thought I was past that. I thought I was good. I had gone through this process. I had gone to therapy, and, I had gotten a life coach and gone through a lot of personal development for myself, and, really found my purpose and really realized what God was calling me to do. And so it's like I'm checking the box. I'm doing all these things that I feel like I'm supposed to do, but I'm not getting the results because something was missing. Something was missing. So I just want to share the process that I'm in right now and the connections that I'm making right now that is making things so much more peaceful for me, even in the midst of those feelings. And not to say that they're totally eradicated, because they aren't, but there's something new that's surfacing that I want to share with you that's bringing me so much joy, so much peace. And like on the song that you were hearing me play before we started, just really tapping into grace, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to share what's going on with me and how I'm shifting from that space of just the guilt and the comparison from other people. So Kia says, and then you see the other people get it when they weren't even looking for it. Right. So it's all kind of things, people not looking for it, and here go they blessing, boom. And then it's like, well, what is going on? What is happening, God? So these are real conversations, and then Joe says, going against God's plan hinders the process of moving forward and receiving his blessing. Yeah. And sometimes though, Joe, and I definitely agree, going against the plan really has some negative consequences, but also there are people who are in alignment with his plan, like really have been waiting, really have been trusting him, but still haven't received the blessing that they truly desire. So, we're going to talk about both, because everybody isn't in a space of going against his plan, but that was my experience, was going against his plan. But yeah, so you're absolutely right. And that's what I was dealing with. Just moving ahead of him, moving ahead of, where I felt like my life was naturally going. I was just like, okay, I'm ready, I was on my grind as far as trying to get to that end game, and I just kept getting back to the place like I'm not in control of this. There's nothing that I can do to make this happen for me. I just have to wait. So that's what I want to talk about. So how do you know his plan? Yeah, so for me, it was just I know when I'm outside of it because I can just sense it. Like, so for me, it's an internal thing where it's my relationship with him, that I have developed over the years, to where it's like I can sense within me when it's off, if that makes sense. So I know when I'm moving too fast, when I need to just chill out. I know when I'm trying to do things my own way. It's that personal relationship that I have that I can sense when things are off. Yeah, or they're not lining up with what his word says. So it's like, for me, that's my answer that I know based on my own personal relationship. So because my processes and my choices had only left me coming up short and wondering, can I have what I truly desire? I asked that question, and then today I can honestly say that I feel like the answer for me is yes. Yes, I can have what I truly desire. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. So Joe says he wants us to focus more on him rather than the blessings that will come. They will come eventually, but he wants our undivided attention. Yeah, absolutely. So without a certainty, without any uncertainty, without any doubt, I can finally say that I know that at some point in my life, I will experience the love relationship that I truly desire. But there was something that was missing for me, that was a missing ingredient, or a couple of missing ingredients, that was really hindering my process. And the missing ingredient for me was love. Yep, that was my missing ingredient. And you're probably saying, what? I mean, love. But for me, I'm just talking about me, and maybe you can gather something from my own story. But what was missing when I look back over all the decisions that I've made and just everything that I have done, what was missing for me was love. Love for myself and being able to receive love from other people. So in essence, what I had been doing all of my life was chasing after love. I was chasing after it. That, I had created this fantasy that, I desire love based on movies and things that I've seen or couples that I've seen. And so I was trying to create a love relationship, not realizing that it comes from within. So let me tell you what I mean. So I had been chasing after men, trying to get them to love me. I thought that my happiness, my answer, my everything that I desired was in a relationship, was in a man. And so because of that, I pursued relationships because I thought that's what I was missing. That's what I needed in order to make me happy, in order to complete the puzzle, in order to create this fantasy. And so because of that, it left me empty because I was on an endless pursuit. I was on a pursuit that I was never going to find what it was that I was looking for because I was looking for it in the wrong place. I was looking for it in the wrong place. And let me tell you what happened to me. And this is just kind of the things that I continue to go through in the steps that I take is first, I had to get tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of the same process, the same pursuit. Like I get out of a relationship, and then jumping into another, looking for another person, getting out of a relationship, looking for another person. So I wasn't giving myself any time to deal with what was going on with me. So I got tired, and it was because it was painful. It was painful dealing with the looking for love in other people. It was painful. And let me tell you about the pain that I had to experience. It was pain like rushing into another relationship, giving my body away, just having sex with people that I wasn't married to, and how that left me emotionally. It was feeling like the person doesn't get me, feeling like I wasn't connected to the person that I'm with. Like I feel this deep internal voice that's telling me that this just doesn't jive with who we are. But because I'm on this endless pursuit of finding love, that it's just like, nah, this is him, and I'm going to make it be him because I'm trying to create this fantasy, right? So, and hurting men, that's something else that became painful for me because in my pursuit, because I'm trying to get something from them and then turning up empty and then having to realize that I need to get out of the relationship for whatever reason, it's like now I'm hurting them because I brought them into my drama. I brought them into this. They didn't ask to be in this relationship. I wasn't being honest with myself about where I was and what I truly needed and where the source of it was. So I hurt men in the process. That's painful to realize that, to have to face the reality that in my pursuit of trying to find something external that was really internal all along, I hurt people. And that don't feel good. It does not feel good to know and to have to acknowledge that. So the first thing that I had to do and that I've been doing is realizing that I'm tired. I am tired. And you just get to a point in your life where it's like, I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of the cycle. And I'm just acknowledging for myself that I am on a cycle. And if I don't stop, I'm never going to experience what it is I say I truly want. So my process has been, first of all, acknowledging that what I'm doing is bringing me pain and it's not working. Because a lot of times we say we want things. I know for me, I said I wanted this. I said I wanted to be, to have a healthy experience, to have a healthy relationship. But I wasn't looking at what I was doing that was creating it, that was contributing it to it being unhealthy. So I say I want this thing, but I'm not looking at what I'm doing that's creating this unhealthy experience. And we do that. We do that so many times. We say we want it, but we're not looking at us and how we're adding to the situation of it not being something good. So one of the things that my therapist would always say is, when the pain of staying the same, let's not do this. Oh, y'all, my phone was acting up. Okay. So my therapist says, when the pain of staying the same exceeds the perceived pain of changing, that's when we'll change. So we change when the pain of staying how we are exceeds the perceived pain of staying the same. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Like I said earlier, the pain of staying the same, the pain of rushing into a relationship, the pain of giving my body away, the pain of feeling like the person I'm not connecting with someone, the pain of hurting men, the pain of that, when that exceeds the perceived pain that I have in my mind of what change is going to be like, that's when I'll change. So when the pain that I feel of all the things that I mentioned exceeds the perceived pain, and for me the perceived pain was loneliness. Like if I change, if I get out of this situation, then I'm going to be lonely, and that's going to hurt more than what I was in. That's what I would tell myself. That's a perceived pain. That's what I'm telling myself, right? So then I stay stuck. I stay in this space of just continuing the cycle. I stay in the space of continuing to do the things that I'm doing, because I feel like if I get out, it's going to be more painful. But I start to change when I realize that what I'm in right now is more painful, and I'd rather deal with, what I'm going to have to face getting out of this situation and breaking the cycle than I will with just staying the same, because it's not working. When I get so sick and tired of the heartbreak, the hurting other people, dealing with all kind of stuff from all these decisions that I made, when I get tired of that, it's like, you know what? I got to do something different, or else I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to go crazy because I keep doing the same thing. So that's when we change. That's when I change. When it gets too painful that I don't want to go through this anymore, then I change. And that's what has been happening for me. I was tired of taking myself through the same painful processes over and over and over again. And it's like I had to have a moment with myself and be like, how much more are you going to take us through? How much more are you going to take us through? That's what the question that I had to ask myself. How much more are we going to deal with? How much more are we going to go through to where we just say, you know what, I got to do something else. I got to try something different. There's got to be another way for me to experience life than what I'm doing. And so that's when change took place for me. So the first thing, or not the first thing, so I have some bullet points as far as how do I deal with the reality of my situation and not having what I truly desire. How do I deal with my painful relationship choices? The first thing I had to do was acknowledge that I'm in a cycle and that it's hurting me and that I want to get out. So that's one of the things that I had to do. So another thing that I had to do and that I'm continuing to do is doing the work. We say we want a healthy experience, but we're not doing the work to create a new experience. Think about that. So in my existence, my half of my life has been lived in unhealthy relationships. So that's all I know. That's what I'm used to. But I say that I want to be in a healthy, more fruitful relationship that leads to, just the true love, relationship, and romance that I truly desire, right? I say I want that. But what am I really doing? What are you really doing to create that when a lot of your life has been lived in an unhealthy state? When all I've seen is just dysfunction in relationships. When all I've done is just, drama in relationships. So that means I have to figure out how to create a new experience. That's what I got to do. Because if not, if I don't shake things up, then I'm going to continue with what I know. And that's a lot of times, and that's going to require work. It's going to require work for me to figure out a new way of experiencing relationships. And when, Okay, I'm getting mad with this daggone phone. I'm just trying to mess up my vibe. And then, yeah. So it's going to require work that many of us are not willing to do. We say we want a new experience, but we're not willing to do the work to get it. We're not willing to do the work. So here's what work looked like for me. And I want to challenge you to figure out what it looks like for you. You're tired of meeting the same old dudes. You're tired of, the heartbreak. You're tired of all of this stuff. What are you willing to do differently to create a new experience? What are you willing to do? So let me tell you what I've been doing. So for me, like back when I started the story about just going from unhealthy relationship and the marriage and that ending, in 2013, I started going to therapy. For a long time, I figured that I needed to go to therapy, but I never went. What I would do is journal, and I would talk to God, and I would pray, but it was like I was on this emotional pendulum going back and forth, and nothing was really changing. Not to say that prayer doesn't change things, but what I needed was some open heart surgery. I needed a surgeon, a guided surgeon, to come in and help me understand who I was and who I am. So I went to therapy starting in 2013. And so what that process did for me was help me to dig into what was underneath the decisions that I've been making. What was contributing to those decisions? That's what therapy has done for me. How am I wired? How are my thoughts? What's going on with my emotions? How do I name my emotions? What happened to me in my childhood that contributed to my decision process? All of that was what therapy did for me. So here we have this onion, and therapy helped me to pull back the layers of me, to help me unpack all the things that I had been carrying from one relationship to another. Here is this professional who is skilled at helping you see yourself, not telling you what to do, but for me, my therapist is really good at helping me see myself and asking those pointed questions so that I can do some self-examination to get to a place of self-awareness. So for me, therapy creates self-awareness, so that we can understand what is going on within me that's causing me to make the same choices over and over. There's something underneath the surface that we're not dealing with that is contributing to these choices. Have we taken the time to do that? Have we taken the time to do that work to figure out what's going on? So that's what I had to figure out. What is going on within me? And that really kickstarted my healing process, right? So, and then going to having a life coach. Now, for me, a life coach, so therapy was about dealing with the stuff that was underneath. A life coach for me was helping me deal with, how do I live life in a different way? How do I deal with the future? How do I not only deal with who I am, but how do I create new experiences? I say I want these things. Here's my goal. But how do I create new experiences? That's what a life coach did for me. So, I started to tap into what I was capable of. So therapy showed me what I was dealing with. Life coach showed me what I was made of and what I was capable of doing. It unlocked the power within me. So that's what having a coach did for me, right? So it's just like these little nuggets that were happening, little seeds that were planted, it was like a digging of just uprooting these things, right? So then also what I did was joined a community of women called Real Women. And this happened in 2013 when I started going to therapy and joined Real Women. And then a couple of years later is when I got the coach. So Real Women is a group of women that I am surrounded around who have going through similar experiences, and we just share with each other what we're going through. And that in itself is healing, because we're being honest, open and honest about what we're going through in a safe space where we feel open and honest to share. So that unlocked the ability to just say, you know what, I can be real about my stuff and I don't have to hide it anymore. Because a lot of times what I was going through was feeling like I had to put up this persona, and this performance and this image, and I wasn't dealing with who I was. So all of this is related to doing the work. I'm talking about doing the work. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the level of detail that we have to get to if we want to create new experiences. And a lot of times we're not willing to do that, because it's almost like if you want to lose weight, right? If you have a goal of losing weight, and you say that out loud, you can say that, but nothing is going to happen until you do something, until you change what you're eating, until you change your mindset about what a healthy life looks like, until you change, your workout regimen, or until you create one, So nothing happens until we do the work. And so what I'm trying to challenge you to do, you say you want these things, but are you doing the work? And not to say that, okay, I do all these things and then something happens and then voila, here comes my man. But at least you're doing something different than what you used to, at least you're doing something different. And that's what I'm trying to challenge you to do. Don't just talk about it. Do something different than what you usually do. Otherwise, you're going to stay in the same cycle. All day long, you can say, hey, I want this. But if you're not willing to do anything about it, it's going to be the same. So what are you willing to do? And then also another thing I did was read books. I read books that really dealt with what I say I wanted, just dealing with the heart, dealing with love, dealing with relationships the healthy way. I read about it, and just trying to place in my mind what that looks like. And then also I can't stress this enough, is praying and just for me going to church, and just really allowing God to help me to understand and see who he is and just what relationships are like from his viewpoint. Because a lot of times we're inundated with the unhealthy viewpoint of relationships. So that's another thing that I do as far as the work. And then what I'm doing now is limiting how much I'm taking in mentally. So a lot of times I used to be on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, and just, chatting and all this stuff. But it's just feeding my mind with all this stuff. And then I'm not having the space to be with myself. I'm not having the space to just, have that quiet time and just kind of shut down the noise so that I can hear and have that connection within myself. So that's something that I've noticed, that I've had to limit my time on social media and just spend time talking with myself and just allowing myself to just go through those experiences. So that's what doing the work has been like for me. And also journaling. I do a lot of journaling. Some people say that journaling doesn't work for them. So figure out what works for you. But journaling for me taps into the inner conversations that I have with myself. Journaling for me taps into the emotions that I'm feeling. It helps me to have an outlet for me to feel. So that's what journaling does for me. Some people like to just talk it out. Some people do voice memos to just talk it out. So that has been my experience of doing the work. So one of the things how I know that I will how I deal with, the relationship choices that I've made, and then also deal with not having what I say that I want and my life not turning out the way that I want it to by this time. I'm doing the work and I'm acknowledging that I've been on a cycle and that I want to change that cycle. Something else that I'm doing, like I told you before, I was on this pursuit of love, right? So one of the things that I've been doing also is learning how to embrace love, starting with myself. Learning how to embrace love, starting with myself. I was on this external pursuit of love and wasn't dealing with the internal pursuit of love. So what does that mean? Our relationship with ourselves dictates how we relate to others. How I relate to myself dictates how I relate to others. So our experiences out in the world with people is just a projection of our relationship with ourselves. If I'm criticizing me all the time, if I'm unhappy with me all the time, I'm taking me into a relationship, and that's what I'm creating. So I'm creating drama. I'm bringing drama into a relationship, basically, because I got all this inner turmoil that's going on within me. So if I'm not in a peaceful place within myself, then how can I expect to have peace in a relationship if the relationship here isn't good? It just doesn't happen, because it starts here. so what I'm learning is the power of the connection with me. And when I tell you, I feel like some things are being unlocked and healed within me, I never thought I would be in such a beautiful place with myself outside of a relationship. I always thought that what I'm experiencing right now, the peace, the love, the joy that I'm experiencing right now in my life, I thought I had to be in a relationship to have that, y'all. And when I tell you, you do not. When I became intentional about figuring out how to love me, it unlocked so much joy and peace that no man on this earth can give me. No man on this earth can give me what I'm experiencing with myself right now. No man, because it's like, it's loving on me, it's connecting me, it's quieting those voices that are telling me, that used to tell me you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not deserving, just all of that condemning noise. It's really getting into touch with who God says I am, because I wasn't able to embrace his love because of the noise that was in my head. So I'm connecting all parts of me, my body, my mind, my soul, my spirit. All of those things are being connected because I'm taking the time to love on me and really explore what that looks like. And when I tell you, nobody can love me and like God. I'm feeling that for myself, and it makes me so excited. And that's one of the that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because I'm like, listen, what you truly desire is not in a relationship. I'm telling you, we have created the fantasy that a relationship is going to give us what we want. But I'm telling y'all, you can have joy and love and bliss outside of a relationship. I'm telling you that because I'm experiencing that. Do I desire to be in a relationship? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I desire more to be in relationship with myself and extend that to a man. You know, imagine what a man is going to get now that I'm loving on me and just in a beautiful place where I'm singing love songs to myself, where I'm worshiping with God, where we're connecting, where my relationship with God is growing because it's like I'm open and I'm free. Imagine going into a relationship like that. Oh, honey, my man gonna get it. Whoever he is going to get it. And and I'm not even talking about sexually. I'm talking about this overflow of love that I feel within myself. He is going to get it. Because now it's not about getting something from him. It's about, I got all this stuff that I want to give to him. All of this stuff that I want to give to him. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important for us to create that experience within ourselves outside of a relationship, so that we can have all of that to take into a relationship. I'm telling you, y'all, it's possible, but we got to be willing to go there. We got to be willing to do the work. And all of this pursuit, all of these years that I have been desiring all this and all these decisions, I can have peace about everything that I've gone through, about everything that I've done because of where I am now. You know, I can make peace with that. So I'm not looking at these other people anymore because I got something good over here. Like, y'all need to get in on this, So it's like I'm in a beautiful place with myself. I can see my progress. I see my growth. I see what God is doing. I see his grace. I see how he's been carrying me through all the relationship experiences and how he's been saying, I got you, even in the midst of that. I see how he's been saying, I love you in the midst of that. I see what his love feels like, what it looks like. I'm telling you, I am in love, okay? And I ain't with nobody but me. And that's enough, y'all. That is enough. That is enough. So can you see how excited I am? And this ain't fabricated. I ain't putting on for social media. I'm telling you, this thing is real. This love is real. And I'm so thankful that I'm finally getting to experience that outside of a relationship, because this is what I've been searching for. This right here, this is what I've been seeking. This is what I've been searching for. And it ain't have nothing to do with a man. Nothing. I love men. Like I said, I want to be in a relationship. I'm not bashing relationships at all. What I'm promoting is relationship with yourself and with God. And self, when I say self, I'm not talking about from a selfish perspective, but I'm talking about everything that is within you. So what I'm talking about is me, God, all of my whole existence is, putting it all together, connecting every part of me and living from that place, because that is authenticity. Living from the place where every part of me is connected. And when I say every part, I'm talking about even the parts that aren't so good. The parts of me that I have been having trouble loving. I look at myself and it's like, I love you even for that. I love you for getting into those relationships. I love you for thinking that you had to look to a man to love you. I love you for all of those decisions that you've made. I love you for being messy. I love you for being unorganized. All the things that I used to criticize myself for, I'm loving myself for even that. I love you for, being the weight that you are. Can you love yourself for the things that you hate about you? For the things that you have been condemning yourself for? Can you love yourself for that? Because that gives access to freedom. When I can love myself for the things that seem unlovable, that's freedom. That's freedom. It takes the pressure off. It's like, man, you love me, I'm good. Okay, so I don't got to perform. I don't got to do all these things to win it. I'm good. It gives access, y'all. It gives access to just peace. And I don't have to do all these things in order to win love. I just am. I'm just love. And that's what, man, I'm telling y'all, this is some good stuff. And I want you to get in on this. That's why I want to share it with you. But it required me to do some work. I couldn't just sit back and wait for this joint to I didn't just sit back and wait to feel like this. I did some work, y'all. I'm talking about snotting, crying on the floor, making these decisions. All of this plays a part. The pain that I felt, all of this played a part in where I am right now. It all worked together for good, all of it. But I had to do some digging. I had to get in an uncomfortable place with myself. I had to go there with me and face and confront the pain. I had to confront the things that I don't like. I had to confront that and get to a point of being okay with it. So that looked like crying. It looked like snotting. It looked like, grieving. It looked like all of that. Everything. Being okay with, the voices that wanted to talk and be like, hey, we're not okay with this. Having those conversations with myself, like it looked like all of that. It was messy. And it is still messy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I have arrived, but this space that I'm in, honey, wouldn't take nothing for my trouble. Like this has been, everything that I've gone through has been worth. If it meant that I had to go through all of that to get here, man, it was worth it. Because this is amazing. Just being in this place of peace with myself is amazing. So I'm able to, I have more capacity to accept the things that are not so good about me. And it's okay because I'm loving on that too. Okay. So yeah. So another thing that I would say is when we're dealing with, so I'm still unpacking the process that it has been for me, and dealing with, I'm not being where you want to be in life as far as relationships or dealing with unhealthy choices. Another thing that has helped me is focusing on the lessons learned and not the choices made. Focusing on what I gained, what I got from all of those relational experiences. What did I get from it? What did I learn? What came from that? What are you learning from all that you've gone through? So, and what I realized that I was continuing to rehearse all the stuff that I did wrong. And so that wasn't helping me to move on. That wasn't helping me to get to this space that I am now of experiencing freedom. Continuing to rehearse, all the things that I've done, it was just condemning me and keeping me living in the past. But what I started to do, I decided to shift things. What have I gained from all that I've gone through? What have I gained? Because there are some lessons, even the most, the nastiest things that I've done, I gained something from it. I learned something from it. What did I get from it? Otherwise, if we don't turn our pain into lessons and our choices into lessons, then we are held hostage by our past. We're held hostage because we're continuously living in the past. So what have you gained? That's what I had to and just, wisdom. I gain experiences. I see how, okay, I ain't gonna do that no more. Like I'm gaining experiences and wisdom and just new thought processes, new ways of looking at things. I'm growing, progress within myself, a deeper relationship with God because I see how he's carried me through all of this. So what have you gained? And then also another thing that has been helping me is, and this is the space that I'm currently in for real, is be willing to release the old and be open to receive the new. A lot of times we're not able to receive what we say we want because we don't feel deserving of it. We don't even know how to receive. We're so used to going through things, just trials and tribulations. We don't even know how to receive something good. I know for me, I was so used to drama in relationships. Do you mean to tell me that I can really experience like peace in a relationship? I had gotten to the place of thinking that wasn't even possible because I had gotten to the place of thinking that I can't even have, a free-flowing organic process. That's what I had told myself. But so now it's like I have to be willing to release the old and be open to receive new and good things. And that requires forgiveness. Because if I'm walking around feeling unworthy and undeserving of blessing, it's because I really haven't embraced the forgiveness. I really haven't forgiven myself for it. And that's a process in and of itself. And if it's just nothing else but a continual saying, when those thoughts come up, saying, I forgive you, I forgive you. We're not going to keep holding that over our heads. I forgive myself for making those decisions. That's not who I am anymore. So it's that forgiveness. So it's, are you even able to receive good things? When somebody does something for you, are you able to receive it? Are you able to just embrace it, to say, what, thank you. Thank you. Are you expecting good things? Or are you expecting punishment? Are you expecting to be paid back for all the things that you've done? That's something that, we have to shift our mindset of being open to receiving new things. Because we are, God is full of blessings. He wants to give things to us. Imagine him holding something in his hand and saying, here, I want to give this to you. His hands are open and saying, here, I want to give this to you. And then we're like, no, I don't deserve it. And he's like, no, here, I want to give this to you. No, look at what I've done. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve that. The ultimate creator is saying, I want to give you, I want to bless you with this. I want to give you grace. I want to give you mercy. But you're saying, no, I'm not deserving of it. No. That's what it looks like when we can't receive, when we're not open to receive. And what I'm challenging me to do is learn how to be open to receive good things. Just learn how to be open to receive good things. And that's one of the things, that's once again why I played that song Grace by For Your Grace by Israel Houghton, because that's the space that I'm in. Like, I'm not deserving of any of this, but I'm grateful for all of it. And I will continue to expect good things because of who he is, who God is, who I'm connected to. Because he said, I don't have to live like that. I don't have to live like, oh, I've done so many bad things and I don't deserve it. He's like, I see you. I'm not even holding it over your head. So why are you doing it to yourself? You've asked me for forgiveness and I've given it to you freely. So why are you holding on to it? So we got to be open. And what that looks like is when those thoughts come and tell you that you're not deserving, talk to yourself and say, you know what? I may not be deserving, but I thank you. And I'm open to receiving anyway. I'm open to receiving anyway. So, and the last thing that I want to share, what has been helping me, and all of this stuff is the work that I've been doing, y'all, because it requires work. If you want something different, what are you willing to do? The last thing that I've been doing is rewriting my story. So I have had a whole history of unhealthy relationships. But my future does not have to have that same story. I can rewrite my story. I can. I don't have to live with that same stuff. I can rewrite it. I can create new experiences. And that's what I'm choosing to do. Create new experience. How do I want to live from here? Okay, I did it. I did all of that stuff. I did it. And I'm acknowledging it. I'm going through my process of digging it up and facing it. But how do I want to live from here? What do I want to, what if I had to imagine how I wanted my life to be, how do I want to live? If I can imagine living in freedom, what do I want it to be like? Giving myself permission to dream. What do I want it to be like? And starting to live as if that is truth. Rewriting my story. That's what's been helping me. What do I want to do that I've never done? Do I know how much power that I have to rewrite my story? Do you know how much power you have to rewrite your story? And when I say rewrite, I mean just live in a different way. You have the power. You don't have to keep going on the same relationship cycle. You have the power to say, no, I don't want to deal with that. You're not powerless. A lot of us live like we are, but we have so much power within us. Tap into it. Tap into the power and the strength. Think about that time you got out of that relationship. Think about the strength and the power that it took for you to do that. That's on the inside of you. Think about the power for those of you who have children. If somebody was to try to come in and do something to your child, think about the strength and the power that will rise up in within you and be like, oh, no, you not. Get that type of righteous indignation with yourself. Oh, no, you not. You know, oh, no, I am not going to continue in that cycle. Create new experiences. You have the power to create new experiences. Stop telling yourself that you can't do it. Stop telling yourself that all you're subject to is what you've been through and what you've done. That's a lie. Don't buy into those lies. You have the power that God has given you. You are a being that is full of authority because he's given it to you. We were created a little lower than the angels. So that means we are powerful beings. The problem is we don't tap into it. We don't know. Or we don't tap into it. We don't access that power. What would your life be like if you really started to live with power? Your story would be amazing. And I'm telling you that you can do that. You just got to choose to do it and stop talking and like you can't do it. Oh, well, this is just who I am. Okay, if that's how you want to live, go ahead, boo. I'm not choosing to live like that anymore. I'm tired of the pity parties. I ain't doing it. I want to create a new story for myself. And that's what I'm choosing to do. That's what I'm choosing to do. And that's what I'm telling you you can do if you choose to. But you got to do the work. You got to be willing to do the work to create those new experiences. So that's been my process, y'all. So that's been my process. So just to recap, I'm acknowledging what wasn't working, that I was in a cycle. I have been doing the work through all types of ways: therapy, life coaching, support groups, searching within myself, prayer, scripture. Just a combination of all of those things. Embracing love for myself and really receiving that for myself. Focusing on the lessons learned and not the choices made. Being willing to release the old and be open to receive the new. And rewriting my story. And when I tell you I am in a loving, peaceful place with myself that I never thought possible, I am in a loving, peaceful place with myself outside of a relationship with a man. And I never thought I could experience this ever. So I want to let you know that it is possible for you to have what you truly desire, the love that you truly desire now outside of a relationship, so that you can give access and give all of this goodness to the person that you end up being in a relationship. And even if you don't, you're still good. I'm good. Whether I'm in a relationship or out of one, I am content in the state that I'm in. Content meaning I am okay. Whether I'm in one or out of one, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm surviving. I'm thriving. I'm living. And you can too. You don't have to, reduce your existence to just being in a relationship. You don't have to look for your significance in another individual. You good. And it doesn't mean that you don't have desires. I have desires. And I know that, in time that I will have the relationship that I truly desire with a man. But I'm loving on this relationship with myself in the meantime, in between time. So that's what I wanted to share. So and all of that. So one of the things I also want to share before I end this conversation is, if you are struggling with any of this, if it's like, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know how to do that, send me a message so that I can walk with you. Because that's what I do. As you can see, this is what I'm passionate about. I label myself as the You Relationship Coach because I'm so passionate about the relationship that we have with ourselves. If you don't know how to do it, if you don't know where to start, reach out to me. Let me help you, because this is what I'm called to do. I had to be my first client. So I'm modeling the process. I'm modeling what it looks like. And that's what I'm called to do. So I can help you do it too. So if that's what you're interested in, send me a message. Let's talk about it. Let me journey with you. You don't have to do this by yourself. I can help you pull out those things that, you're having challenges doing. So that was our conversation today. I didn't even read through the comments because I got all hyped up just sharing what I wanted to share. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing what you did share. And I'll go back and comment later. But I really want you to know that love exists outside of a relationship. And you can have everything that you desire. But it starts with you. And you got to be willing to do the work. Okay? So tune in next Wednesday. We're going to start, we're going to have another special guest next Wednesday. But I just wanted to take a pause for the cause this week to just share, from my heart and the journey that I've been on, in hopes that it encourages you to continue on your journey and to know that you're all right. You're okay not being in a relationship. All right. So have a good night, y'all. Thank y'all.